We are SQUAWK Dead, a podcast pulverizing episodes of the Walking Dead universe. Sometimes we bring you news, sometimes we make you laugh, most times we go deep. But today we are covering the third episode of the sixth and final season of Better Call Saul, Rockin' a Hard Place. Of course, Sharon D is here with me, and Bridget.
So that was an episode, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
Well, if you watch that little other thing we put together, boy howdy.
Ooh-wee.
Next week's episode is called Hit and Run. They're keeping with the blank and blank theme. I do want to address a mistake I made last week. The date on Jimmy and Kim's marriage certificate is 2004, not 2005.
Ah.
And I paused when Erickson was showing Lalo's arrest sheet. His arrest date was 2004. So
Okay.
I think we're still in 2004. But I think I got the other part kind of right. I think we're right around June. If you remember in the episode, Jimmy says this has to be off by the 18th, but it's 2004 instead of 2005. So we're 3.5 years away from Breaking Bad.
Okay.
So even more time jumps to look forward to.
I was going to say, you've got some juicy tidbits, I'm sure. Lay it on us.
A few. First, let's talk about the opener, the desert scene. I kind of saw that as almost a parallel to the opener of 601, in the sense that basically we're exploring what's left of the destruction of a character. Because we're looking at Nacho's grave, basically, where he died. And while Saul is not dead, we're looking at what is left of what is the shell that's left behind.
Well, what's left of Jimmy then, right? We're seeing the
Right.
death of Jimmy and the birth of Saul.
The painting that they have the Post-it note stuck on is the painting that is being carried down the steps in the opener. One of those
I
Easter eggs.
totally missed that.
Yeah, one of those
okay.
Easter eggs. Yeah.
Dang.
Okay.
What did you guys think of the opener?
It reminded me of Fear of the Walking Dead in season 4. That whole episode with Madison and Nick and the like find the good out there with those what are those? Are they blue bonnets?
Blue
Or
bonnets.
bells?
Blue bonnets.
And then I saw that it did pan in on that piece of glass, which then becomes like so relevant later. But I was like at the beginning, you're just watching it, you're like, what's that? Like, what's that all about? So
It gave me sinking feelings. I didn't
Makes-
know what was coming, but my
makes me
stomach was
real
like,
sad now.
yeah. Yeah. I think my stomach knew what was coming before my brain and my heart did. My stomach was all sorts of churned up, but I'm like, no, he's gonna get out and run away and be safe.
I don't know if you guys do this, but like I've done this with like a lot of the Walking Dead shows too, where like someone gets shot like in the head, and I'm like, maybe they'll still be okay.
I'm like, now I know
There's
how
no-
Beth apologists feel, right? Like, Beth is still alive. No, she's not, honey. I'm like, please, but Nacho could have survived, right?
There's no way. But I'm like, they'll still be okay. Someone will fix it. Like it's fine.
Yeah, get him a Band-Aid. Someone get him a Band-Aid.
Yeah, not after Hector Salamanca was through with him. Sorry. Oh, boy.
I wanted to be really mad at that. I wanted to be really, really mad that Hector did that and that they included that. Maybe a part of me is still really mad, but I don't know. Nacho is my boy. I'm like, how are you going to do him like that? Like, don't. That's like when you're playing a video game and you kill somebody and then you run over and hump their body. You don't do that shit. No.
The squat thing?
Yes. Yeah. Like, don't. Just don't.
Up, down, up, down, up, down.
I liked that Sharon D had said it brought like immediate comic relief to this like such a messed up situation, which it did. Like it was so stupid, over the top, but it's just such a thing that he would have done.
Yeah.
Like
Breaks the tears up a little bit.
So angry with this little bell.
Ding, 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 ding.
I don't know about you, but I honestly thought they were going to take him over there, obviously holding him up and walking him over and like urinate on him. That's what I thought was going to happen.
I thought he was going to spit on him.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be spit. Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure at this point, Don Hector's going in a bag.
Yeah. The funny part to me was when they were carrying him across the desert in the wheelchair.
Like these tough guys carrying this funny man.
Right.
Wait, can I go back to the opener though, or not the opener for this one? Because what I immediately thought was I've driven out in the desert like when it's raining, and I happen to feel like it's like one of the most beautiful things to kind of drive through. I knew it was going to be sad, and I felt like, oh no, and that somebody who is dying is going to be Nacho. But then I thought, what a way to kind of tribute him, because that's how I felt. Like I felt like a beautiful soul is going to the heavens, and then you see the flower at the end. It's like, you know, somebody precious has passed, and that's how we should see this. They made me feel okay. I mean, not okay, but like this is how we want to regard him, as like somebody beautiful.
I'm just not quite there yet.
There was broken glass right after that too, in the truck bed that he was laying in. So then I was like, was that the significance? You know, like from the beginning of the episode, the first watch, I was like looking for glass throughout, trying to piece it together, but it's not what I expected.
Well, the glass in the truck bed was from the shootout at the motel. And then the piece of glass we see in the desert was curved like a glass bottle or something.
You know, you leave anything out long enough, it's New Mexico, people are gonna shoot it, so I'm sure there were like shooting off glass bottles out there.
Fair.
And by the way, isn't glass heated up sand anyway?
Yeah.
That's just another thing I thought of. I don't know.
Yeah.
The glass that Gus broke last week when he knocked the glass off the table, and Nacho found it in the trash can.
And then picked it up with his hands.
Clever.
The title is A Rock in a Hard Place, and I mean, of course, that is Nacho. But I think it's also Jimmy and Kim, because I think with the DA on their ass, they're going to be in between a rock and a hard place, the DA and the cartel.
I think it could also apply specifically to Jimmy when it comes to Kim, right? Like I feel like he's sort of in a rock, between a rock and a hard place with her and how she's acting and like how she wants to go after Howard, and Jimmy's not quite so sure about it. And so he's like, what do I do? Do I give her what she wants? Do I try and steer her down a different path? Like, I see kind of Jimmy in that spot too.
And you can tell in their scenes that he still is not really 100% with this. The scene where he comes home and Kim is sitting waiting for him, and he walks up to the painting and he looks down, and he could just see him like, this again? I mean, does she never let up with this? Even though she's talking about something completely, you know, she's going to talk about something completely different. You can just see it in his face like, damn, I just give me a break, you know? Like, I don't want to do this again.
Wasn't he kind of like, what's wrong with it? You know, like, so clearly it gives the impression that she's gone over it again and again and again and again, you know, changing things, switching things around, correcting the, like, plan.
Kim and her Post-it notes.
I just keep thinking of her and grabbing it and being like, I'm sorry, it's spelled wrong. I have to fix this. It's going to bother me.
This should be hyphenated.
So what is on the Post-it notes? One says paint. One says phone call with a question mark. One says casting, then the frowny face. There's a picture of a carrot, the word tour. Tuesday, 9A. As far as I could tell, it was kind of blurry. The name J. Stengel, a magnifying glass, and a car. And he takes off the paint and moves it down to the bottom, and he puts Namaste in its place.
Howard's license plate.
And we did hear them talking about, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. To me, it sounded like they were talking out loud about the plans they had for Howard's car. They wanted it to look like someone took it out for a joyride and they were going to like vandalize it somehow and then get it back. Is that what you were picking up?
They need access to it for whatever this next part of the plan is. And so they needed to get it. And then I guess they figured, I don't know like what the plan is, so I can't piece together exactly what it was that they need to do with it. But yeah, they were planning on like, they're like, well, we can just do like somebody came and took it for a joyride, which I kept thinking, I'm like, then your fingerprints are going to be all over it. Are you guys dumb?
Right? You're lawyers. Come on.
Horrible choice. Yeah. So I thought that was clever that they like used Huel to come up with the old valet trick. The old valet trick.
I love Huel.
The fact that they specified that it's 4 to unlock and 5 to lock tells me that something is going to go extremely wrong with it.
I kept thinking, I was like, don't you want to like write that down just to be sure? And he's like,
but
yeah,
Jimmy's
okay,
got a good rememberer. Now I know why I was thinking vandalism is because of the sticky note that said paint on it. But I don't know to what end. I can't figure out why if they have someone steal the car and like paint it up with like and vandalize it, like I don't see what the next step is. Or could it
Maybe-
just be like they're gonna like paint the car a different color?
What they want to do is use the car to make people think that Howard is doing something shady. That's why they wanted a duplicate Howard car. The paint was if they wanted to find a car just like Howard's and paint it just like Howard's and then use it to do something. So
That makes more
what
sense.
are they going to do with it? It's time for a Breaking Bad cameo because I think it's going to be Wendy, the prostitute from Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah,
Because
my first thought was prostitutes too.
I saw a clip on Twitter where Kim is telling Jimmy that she dropped Wendy off and then she was being followed. Which is funny because everybody had this theory. There was this theory going around that Kim was gonna be Wendy. Like that's what happened to Kim. She's actually Wendy.
I hate that.
Oh no.
Like, wow, she went downhill quickly in like 3 years. Is what I'm saying. They're gonna have somebody see him dropping her off out of Howard's car or something like that. That's why they want to steal the car.
Because it's supposed to be something bad enough to get him, like, suspended or disbarred or whatever, but not bad enough to, like, ruin his whole life.
I don't even think they want to get him suspended or disbarred. I think they just want to throw doubt on Sandpiper. And by making it look like he's a drugged out party boy, Sandpiper's going to be like, oh shit, we need to settle before this whole case falls apart because of Howard.
Like, Wendy's going to pretend to, like, OD
money.
in the back of, like, in his trunk or
Oh my
something.
god.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. I don't know how she got there. Like,
I mean, if they do a really good job replicating Howard's car, they could like take pictures of Wendy on it or next to it or in it, or like be like, "Oh, look, Howard has hookers in his car."
They're basically trying to ruin his reputation in a sense, like not try to get rid of him on an ethical, moral reason. They want to get him on just like, is this the guy we want representing us? And then like naturally drop him for himself, not for his prowess.
Basically, the same thing they tried to do with the Kettlemans. You know, they're like, you weren't represented correctly because Howard was coked out or whatever. So basically, they want to do the same thing with Sandpiper. Howard was coked out and partying, so he's a bad representative for this. Because of that, the whole case could fall apart and they could lose everything. So, the lawyers will be like, just go ahead and settle now and get what we can before the whole case falls apart.
You picked up my breadcrumbs.
Can we talk about Nacho in the oil tanker?
Yes. Yes,
do
please.
we have to?
I can't remember the last time I was so like scared for somebody. That was so intense. It was such a nail biter. And then he like held his breath and like went under the oil, like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, oh, he's gonna sit up and homeboy's gonna see him. I'm like, It was, I was all over the place.
He legitimately held his breath for over a minute in that scene.
Michael Mando did?
Yes, they talked about it on the Insider podcast.
Holy shit.
Whoa.
I don't think I could do that.
No. That was a great piece of acting by Michael Mando, though, because he comes in and he's doing that coughing. Like, you can tell that the air is just like thick with the fumes from the oil. It was so good. It was so believable.
Did they talk about what they used for the oil?
If they did, I missed it, but it looked similar to the same stuff they used in Fear when
On
they
Fear
did
the Walking Dead?
The oil, yeah, the oil.
I could guess what they used, but I'm always curious to know.
It's probably molasses, something like molasses or something like that.
Ugh.
Food.
Yeah, it's probably a corn syrup and chocolate mixture.
Yeah. Tasty, tasty oil.
But it tasted good.
And lots of peppermint to kind of simulate the fumes.
Oh, you'd be crying.
The tanker gave me kind of apocalypse vibes, Like, I was like, wait a minute. What show am I watching?
Did anybody else think that I can't tell the cousins apart, to be honest, and I don't even feel bad about it. I don't even know if I know their names. But when he looked at the tanker and Nacho was looking through the like rotted holes or whatever, I totally thought he saw his face in there.
I did too.
There's just one more thing I wanted to say about the tanker scene was how they did the time transition. They just like focused on it and like fast forwarded everything.
Yeah, that was
love
awesome. That was awesome.
It was really good.
They do talk a lot about it on the Insider podcast, if that's something you guys are interested in
Okay, cool.
That whole
Sweet.
scene and everything. It's really interesting.
The fast forward transition specifically.
I imagine
Or-
it
or-
would be
or
great
the whole
and
tanker
and
scene.
I
all
think they
day.
talked about they talked a little bit about that, but it was mostly about the whole tanker scene. Who were really the evil ones? Because the Salamancas. Well, I mean, the Salamancas are hot-headed and not dumb, but they don't think things through. Gus, he knows exactly what he's doing. It's kind of like the difference between Joffrey and Ramsay in Game of Thrones.
Ooh.
Joffrey is a spoiled little brat,
Okay,
but
fair.
Ramsay is a grown-up who thinks seriously about. I was watching a thing yesterday about Gus and about his character and just how methodically evil he is. And to torture, because what he's doing to Hector is torture. He is like giving up millions of dollars and blowing up his restaurants and giving up his people for the ultimate goal of torturing Hector. So we pull for Gus, but in reality, what is the difference between the two of them?
The age-old AMC series conundrum. Who's the real villain?
Intentions though, isn't it? Like we got to see Fring's backstory a bit, and wasn't it all because like of his background, or he's gay or like supposedly
his
gay?
boyfriend. Hector killed
Yeah.
his boyfriend.
Hector killed his boyfriend on the orders of Don Eladio, and then
it-
Hector taunted him. But
Do we know why?
yes, because Gus was operating outside of the cartel.
Okay,
And
so his
to
boyfriend was
punish-
killed as a punishment
as a punishment. Yes.
to Gus. Okay. I got you. Personally, I think after that happened, Gus just doesn't feel anything anymore. I mean, maybe that makes him evil. I mean, if you don't have feelings are kind of what make you human, right? And if you don't have any, what are you now? We've said before, he speaks in a monotone voice. He doesn't really have reactions to many things. Yeah, I just see this like empty shell of a person just full of revenge, and he's laser focused on Don Hector.
But he also told the story when he was young about catching and torturing the little coati because it ate the fruit from his tree. It was just doing what an animal does, eating fruit. And he was so angry or whatever at it that he caught it and tortured it and let it starve to death. And that was when he was like 7. So
Oh, he's got a little evil in him.
Got a real Dexter on our hands here. Jeez. Whoa.
So since we're talking about Gus and Don Hector, okay, it was Nacho that put Hector in the chair. What has Gus done to Hector?
So I mentioned this to Sharon D as I was watching the show the first time through because, she's the go-to Better Call Saul person. I didn't realize until watching Better Call Saul, because, I've watched Breaking Bad, so I knew that there was some background drama there. I didn't realize that Don Hector could have moved on to being maybe not like fully functional, like as an adult, but maybe more communicative. And Gus sends away the nurse or the doctor who's making so much progress with him. She's like, he's making such good progress. Like he's gotten to the point now where he has the muscle control and he's able to start answering her questions and stuff. And he's tapping his finger. And then Gus is like, great, you can go now.
Let's
and
keep
she's like,
him right here in this state.
yeah, she's like, oh, okay. Like you can tell she's confused. Like, has she done something wrong and like offended him? Is that why he wants her to go? Or like, what's the real reason? And it's because he wants Don Hector like that. He's like, you made it just far enough where you're so close to being able to communicate, but no.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it so your nephew has to list off every letter of the alphabet.
Oh my gosh.
Spell everything out.
So Gus was really taking advantage of an opportunity that Nacho created. So I wonder what his plan, what his original plan was.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Gus has big ideas, so I'm sure there was something in the works. Or did he in some way put it in Nacho's ear? Had they even communicated yet?
Mike told Nacho not to do it. What Gus originally was going to do was eventually, because he was getting Mike to hit their drug trucks and, disrupting the stuff. So basically, he wanted to do to them what Lalo is now doing.
Now
Gus.
doing. Oh, okay.
Blowing up his restaurants.
So I guess he was hopeful that Bolsa or Eladio would just take him out.
My
Or like
my
cut
guess
him
is
off,
well,
maybe?
I think what he was doing was he was actively trying to destroy the Salamanca family in the cartel. But then, like you said, Nacho gave him the option to do something. Well, I mean, Nacho did it, but then he was like, "Oh well, let me take advantage of this."
I almost think, by the way, that Fring is unbridled ambition, but patient as fuck. Like,
Oh,
I think he
very
wants to go
patient.
all the way to the top. He wants to be the Don. Ilario be damned. I mean, he was the one who killed his boyfriend too. So there's an additional pressure.
Which, of course, we know in Breaking Bad, he does take them all out. He takes the entire cartel out, and then he takes Hector out. Well, Hector takes him out, kind of though.
Just later.
Which pairs very nicely with the fact that his own series is going to come out soon, or not soon, but eventually.
I don't think that's.
There's a rumor about it.
Yeah,
like
that's a rumor. I don't think that's.
Oh, is it only a rumor? Okay, I
Yeah,
thought I
don't
saw
think that's
something like
confirmed.
in an article or something like that. Oh,
That'd be pretty cool. I'd watch that.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah, people are saying it'll be like a prequel. So they would, like they just keep moving back, I guess.
So
Just
now we're gonna
keep
go
going.
even before Jimmy.
Well, I mean, everybody wants to know what they talk about when they're always talking about what happened in Santiago. And
Fair. They could show us what happened to his boyfriend.
so when Nacho says goodbye to his dad, of course his dad doesn't know that this is the last time. The last thing his dad says to him is, "What else is there to say?" And at the end, when they let Mike out of the truck, he looks at Nacho, and I think that's kind of almost the same. The look he gives him is almost the same way. So Mike has now lost two people that he cares about to Gus. Werner and now Nacho.
Werner Ziegler.
Ziegler.
Oh,
it's
you're
kind of
fine.
funny because I'm glad you brought up the whole who's the more evil one, and the Salamancas, and who's worse than who, because. And I'm glad you went straight to Nacho right after that, because as he was sitting there, crouched in the corner, trying to talk to his dad, trying to breathe, trying not to cry on the phone, I just kept thinking to myself, all of these people are in hell and they're surrounded by devils who have demons of their own. Probably. I don't know about the Salamancas. They seem like who are the leaders in hell? Oh yeah, the Salamancas. Fuck those guys. They love
seem
it
like
here.
they party with the demons.
Yeah, it's like they love the weather down here. But
Yeah.
like almost everybody else has done something, even like Jimmy, Kim, or I don't know about done something, but they're in hell either electively or by circumstance. It's like as I was watching Nacho in the corner, I'm like, how did I get here? It was just rough.
Yeah, I was telling Charity, we were talking about it last night, and I said that seeing Nacho's end like this just makes his entire story so sad. I can't even go back and watch the beginning of Nacho right now without being sad, because his whole goal from the second we met him was to get out.
Yeah, and we're rooting for him the whole time.
Yeah, it took him to get to this point to get out. I really hope they make good and leave his dad alone. I hope Mike looks out for his dad.
Well, that's why I loved that he was like, I don't want your word.
Yeah, right.
I want Mike's. Like, that was just such a touching moment where you're like, oh, they really trust each other. Even though maybe they shouldn't, in any other circumstance, like, they would not have become like a likely pair.
I think anybody who knows Mike knows that you can trust his word. I mean, Mike is a man of his word. Yeah, he does shady shit, but he's honest. He might be one of the most honest people on this show.
Honor among thieves.
Yeah.
You know how in the Walking Dead universe we talk about found family? When he was talking to his dad, Nacho, his dad going, what else is there to say? It's kind of like they're like I said, like Nacho's in hell and his father's just on the regular plane of existence, like everybody else that's oblivious to this Breaking Bad universe. But then when I saw Mike look through the sniper scope at what Nacho did, I felt like he was way more affected by Nacho's death, suicide, than his own father. I mean, his own father doesn't know, but I think his own father kind of like said, my son is dead. He's been dead a long time. Now the difference is he going to do the right thing and be dead? And so like when I saw Mike tumble over, it's like, oh, this is like the father figure in hell that he has. In this weird thing. I know it's kind of strange, but I saw like his own son dying.
Right, and I mean, Mike, he tried to get Nacho to not do what he did. He reminded him, don't go after Salamanca. Don't do it. Don't do this. And Nacho did it anyway. And I feel like that's also kind of a mirror between Mike and his son, because he told his son to be crooked and he ended up dying anyway. So this time he was like, don't do it. And Nacho still died.
Well, now that you're saying that, the same thing happened with Werner, because he told him, don't move forward with this whole, like, whatever you're thinking, take it easy, calm down. We'll give you extra time to talk on the phone with your wife. He has said that to all of these people that have died.
So let that be a lesson, kids. Always listen to Mike.
Yeah. Guys, you're in hell. Don't do the thing the devil's going to wag his little pitchfork at you for. Then they do it anyway. You know how you wound up here. Devil's going to poke you in the tuchus with his pitchfork.
So I'm curious, and Sharon, I think you kind of clarified it for me the other night, but I want to have more of a discussion about it. When Mike is looking through the scope and Nacho has the gun to Bolsa's head, and Mike says, do it. Question number 1, he wants Nacho to shoot Bolsa, right?
That was my take.
Okay. And then what would have happened if he did? Was Mike going to shoot Nacho immediately after he shot Bolsa? Was that sort of the end game?
Their plan was for Nacho to try to run away and Victor would take him out.
Right.
But, you know, a million things could have gone wrong. Like Mike said, that could have gone south a million ways. Mm-hmm. So my feeling was when Nacho had Bolsa, Mike wanted him to shoot him because then he had a reason to shoot Nacho and end it and not let Nacho be taken by the Salamancas or something go south and there be, you know, something happen. If Nacho shot Bolsa and killed him, then Mike had every legitimate reason to go ahead and shoot Nacho before everything went to shit. So my feeling was he wanted Nacho to just shoot Bolsa, so he had, which I believe is why he wanted to go in the first place. That's the whole reason he wanted to go, because he wanted to be able to take Nacho out so he wouldn't get tortured to death. Because I don't know if you noticed, but when Bolsa was telling Nacho, he's like, there's good deaths and there's bad deaths. And they showed like this the shot from inside the house. You could see all the torture implements laid out on a cloth in front of the window. They would have legitimately tortured Nacho to death. What if Gus had been like, fuck him, Victor, don't let him try to run, you know? Who knows? So I think Mike was like, I am going to be here to shoot him so that he doesn't have to suffer.
Is there something poetic and beautiful about dying at the hands of someone who loves you or cares about you? I mean, is that a better death?
Well, I mean, didn't they kind of cover this in The Walking Dead? When even with walkers, is it better for you to take out the walker is the walker be taken out by someone you love? Someone who loved them? Mm-hmm. Does it make it better?
As you guys were talking, I was thinking about The Walking Dead World Beyond, and Lieutenant Colonel Kublik, as she was talking with Jennifer Malik, Huck, she was saying, and this is her daughter, just to give everybody context, she's telling Huck about the spaghetti bolognese story. And how, like, I was always there to clean up your mistakes, you know? And if you're going to go down, I'd rather it be me that, you know, takes you down or puts you down or cleans up your messes. But I'd rather it be me punishing you. Because I love you.
She said as much. She said as much. She basically said, I was going to destroy your world before anyone else had a chance to. Yeah.
Right.
Well, and I mentioned this immediately after watching the episode. Maybe Nacho had shot himself in the head as, like, a last kindness to Mike. Like, I'm not gonna make you do this to me. I'm gonna just take care of it myself, which I think is really beautiful and just kind of encapsulate this super unusual, like, friendship, I guess we could describe it as.
Yeah.
But and I'm wondering now, as I'm envisioning the scene in my head, and Mike is laying down, so he has like the sniper rifle up and so he can see, he is laying on a rock, and he is between the rock and the hard place of having to put Nacho down. So, like, there's some more of that imagery.
And this title really applied to a lot of characters this episode. I also thought maybe Nacho made the choice as, like, a final fuck you to the Salamancas. Like, you're not gonna torture me. Haha.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it before you can.
He could go out on his own terms. He wasn't going to go out the way Gus wanted him to, and he wasn't going to go out the way the Salamancas wanted him to. The only choice he had left in the world was to go out the way that he chose. So I think it's a little bit of all of that, to be honest.
I have to keep reminding myself that Michael Mando is fine because I'm, like, getting really sad.
He's okay, Rachel. He's okay.
Guys, I have the perfect segue. Like, because we had literally just said this about Dakota. She went out on her own terms.
Dakota. Fuck Dakota.
Oh, fuck Dakota.
Fuck Dakota.
Do you feel better now?
Nacho didn't kill John.
No.
Fuck that shit.
Nacho was amazing. Nacho was the best.
Right?
Bob.
I'm trying to think of any other scenes. I mean, Jimmy and Kim were so small in this episode, kind of.
Right. The only other thing I want to maybe say is what I brought up in the immediate after show was one of my favorite scenes was the juxtaposition of Jimmy and Kim doing the mundane, everyday couple things in the morning, zipping up her dress, fixing his tie, fixing his cufflinks while they talk about this crazy, outlandish plan. And it's just another indication of how contradictory they are. As in, they got an office for love, but they got married for business. Everything is so contradictory about them. And that was really one of my favorite scenes of the whole episode, was watching them, oh, have a nice day, and but meanwhile they're like, we're gonna take this car and we're gonna paint it and do this and this and this and this. It's just great. I love it.
And she hesitates for a moment. Like, she's not excited to say yes, but she has to say yes because it's the truth. Just those little nuggets of detail are why I love this show so much. Like, I don't know if it's a directing choice. I don't know if it's a Ray Seahorn choice, but fucking perfect.
Like we say all the time, everything in this show means something.
Yeah.
Which also reminds me, I got the key numbers wrong in the after show. The key numbers hanging in the valet booth are 614, 616, 617, and 619. Those are the ones that are hanging in the valet box. The two that are missing are 615 and 618, which 618 is Howard's.
Okay.
I don't know what that means,
So-
but it has to mean something because no one in this show.
6/18 is June 18th. If we're in June and Jimmy and Kim are focused on the 18th.
Ooh, look at you.
Yep, there you go. Look at you. Look at you.
Bravo.
And the crowd goes wild. You had said something about in your initial reaction watch that the way that Kim often throughout this episode looks at Jimmy almost feels like she's testing him as well. I mean, she's always kind of testing him because he's kind of like lied to her every now. Well, at least in the beginning throughout the series. But I feel like she's been burned a little bit too many times by him, and so I feel like she makes him feel like he's in on the plan. But I feel like in some way, depending on how he does as a participant, he may be thrown under the bus by Kim. Depending, it's like a choose your own adventure. If he does this, then turn to page 26 and, well, I'm going to bury him as part of this plan.
It's funny you say that.
In this episode, he's saying we can't do it because of the paint and the car and we don't have time. And she's like, oh. And then she comes up with we'll steal his car. And he's like, well, then how do we do that? We have these kids and blah, blah, blah. And there's a million ways it could go wrong. And she kind of turns around, looks defeated, and he watches her. And then all of a sudden he goes, but wait, we can do this plan. And it's almost as if, and then she turns around and she's all bright again. Like, everything's fine, and I just have the feeling that she is playing him so hard. And it's gonna break my heart when it happens, when it comes out. But
I know.
Do you think she truly
she
loves
has got
him?
him on the long time.
Well, I think we talked about that in our last
Right.
podcast. I'd said, I'm like, does Kim even love Jimmy?
I mean, I think so. I wanna say yes.
I think she does. She doesn't want to have to con him or whatever, but she wants what she wants, and doing this to Jimmy is the only way she's gonna get it.
And let's be honest, it's easy for her.
Yeah, I mean, she loves him, but at the same time, she's like, I love you, but my pro bono work is more important, basically.
And I need
Which is
your
so-
sandpiper money to continue
it's
doing that.
so weird. It's such a juxtaposition of like, I want all this money because I want to be able to do all of this free good work for people, but I'm like doing the shadiest shit to get there. It's like the premise of Breaking Bad all over again. I need money to like help my family, and so I'm gonna do all this shady shit to get there. Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
Kim is Walter
Yeah.
White. I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
not at all.
Ooh.
And you know what's funny? Like, Huel kind of put it best. I love characters like Huel who kind of like Wes on Fear the Walking Dead, who kind of look at a situation like, you guys are crazy, right? You don't have to do this. Kim literally just has to stop. That's it. But she's just so stuck on this whole, I got to ruin Howard's life for some reason. Like, I mean, I know you guys talked about in the reaction video, like, Howard, didn't trust Jimmy, but it was because of Chuck. Kim, as a result, by extension, the same.
But one thing I forgot to bring up in that was Howard was actively participating in the trial that made Jimmy lose everything. That was Chuck's doing, but Howard was testified against him. Howard did his best to fucking ruin Jimmy and have him disbarred.
Yeah. You had reminded me of all the shit Howard put Kim through. Honestly, I had forgotten how shitty he was to Kim.
So, I mean, I understand why especially Jimmy has a lot of animosity towards Howard, because Howard's one of the reasons he doesn't have his senior practice anymore and why he's doing this fucking criminal shit.
This is my initial first watch theory. What if Howard is like a jilted ex-lover? Right? Like why is he doing this? Like, what if they like fucked and then she was like, nah, brah, you're not for me. And then
I want Jimmy.
And then he's like, you don't want to fuck with me, but you're gonna fuck with this guy? This guy? Really? Like, if that's why, because there's something in like one of their first interactions together, just the two of them, that made me feel like uncomfortable.
They had seen each other naked.
Yeah, like I was like, I'm not supposed to see this. I'm just gonna leave.
I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be here right now.
It's like, you want to see him naked, not me? Oh, personal slight.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if that carries any water, but it's just one of those things where I'm like trying to piece together like, yeah, okay, I get it. Like Howard was a real dick to her, but like, why?
Or what if Howard just had a crush on Kim and she just denied him before things even got physical? That would be even a bigger rejection, right? Like, I'm not even gonna give you the time of day.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick it to the mail boy
theory,
instead.
Though. That's good. The mail boy. slide it in my slot.
Yo, in her hoo-ha. So, like, you're saying the whole premise behind Kim maybe even being with Jimmy is like a whole F you. Maybe this is all part of Kim's plan. It's like, Jimmy, she doesn't care about Jimmy. It's all about giving Howard the F you for some reason.
No, I don't think I feel that way. Like, I don't feel that way about it. I just feel like something happened that I'm not aware of.
And that's the reason Howard is so shitty towards them.
Because I can't figure it out otherwise. Like, because he genuinely liked Jimmy at the beginning. He says, like, I think you're a real go-getter. So, yeah. I think, I want you to come work for me. Like, there's all of this stuff that happens. And I'm like, but if you like Jimmy, like, why are you such a dick to Kim? And remember, all I said was, well, maybe he can see through Kim's shit. Like, maybe he's known the whole time she's shady. And, like, that's why.
And maybe he couldn't see through Jimmy's shit.
And I don't know.
Too.
I don't know what it is, but there's something there that I'm just not quite seeing yet, but
But what if also like how it's Howard being wrong too, like about Jimmy under Chuck's advisement. All this time he's looking at Jimmy thinking, you know, I want this guy to work for me. He's pretty savvy. He's a hustler. He's a go-getter. There's a place on my team for somebody like that. And like him being wrong also by his mentor. And him
Howard
not
being
seeing
wrong?
him thinking one way and then being told and maybe even seeing what Jimmy's capable of. The shady that Jimmy's capable of. There's something to be said about somebody feeling wrong about their own impression that makes them hate the other person. But I have another question though.
Okay.
Is what Howard does personal? Think
To
about
Kim?
it. Like, or is
I
it like
think
he
yes.
does he have like the firewall of like, but this is the right thing to do? Like, so nothing I'm doing is wrong.
What he did to Kim or what he does to Jimmy?
Well, essentially everybody.
what he did to Kim was punitive. It was
different.
punitive, and it was against, like, it was because of Jimmy. She was punished. Like, that didn't even make sense.
Well, I think a lot of that was Chuck, because Howard pretty much idolized Chuck. So anything and gave him total credit for being the one who built up the firm and who made the firm what it is. And so anything Chuck wanted, Howard was like, okay, I'll do it. You know what's best for the firm.
What a shitbag Chuck is, though. Or was.
Fuck
Sorry.
Chuck.
Rest in peace, I guess.
To get back at Jimmy, to needle Jimmy, he put Kim in the cornfield or whatever. I mean, he was mad at Kim for doing things too, but I think it was mostly at Chuck's behest.
But it's crazy because Chuck's like, Howard, I need you to come see me in my office. Can you fuck this girl's life up, and fully take her wrath later? Cool, bye. I'm gonna die now. See ya. What?
They see me rolling. Okay. But like we were talking earlier about like replacement fathers, like, right? Like the found family kind of thing. Like, Howard kind of sees Chuck as his kind of like a brother or maybe even a fatherly figure. where Chuck should be seeing Jimmy as like a brother. He just rejects him consistently.
More like a grandfather, am I right? Chuck is old as fuck.
So is Bob Odenkirk. Let's just be fair. Okay. They did a number on him, but still.
Well, is that all we got, folks?
I think that's about it.
I think we beat this one.
Yeah, we really talked about the DA and stuff last time. There's not much more else to say about that. So
I'd said this in the chat earlier, but you guys were talking about like nobody cares about Saul's stuff. Like as the feds, I guess, were like inventorying all of Saul Goodman's stuff. One thing that I noted was that they were like literally documenting everything that they were throwing into the boxes, like that duality of like, no, we care about how much this is worth, but then just toss it into the frickin' box. But then I remembered like back in the 2000s, civil asset forfeiture was like the new thing. It was a means to kind of like bolster like the police departments and stuff like that. So people like were really, really all about it. It would increase their budgets, they would get better equipment, they would militarize a little bit more. So I don't think it's like they didn't care about this stuff. They definitely care about this stuff so they could liquidate it. But they were very meticulous about every single thing they were putting away.
Good catch.
I thought they just looked like they were chucking shit in boxes.
Right?
like fuck your life.
Your gold
Viagra.
toilet.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us, folks, as we broke down this episode of Better Call Saul. We hope you enjoyed it. You can leave comments, but I don't know where. YouTube, probably. Tell us if you agree or disagree with everything we said. Thanks.
Hey, and if we missed anything, right?
Bye.
Bye. Bye.